Hi, book reading friends. Starting this week's video a little bit early. It's actually the night of Christmas Day, um, mostly because I've got the time to kill right now, so why not do it right now? And I've done the reading I'm going to do. So, the first book I read was called Cenotes City by Monique Quintana. This was my non-Western inspired prompt. Um, I didn't love the story. This has been my least favorite book of the month, but I suspect it might be a cultural thing. But the story just made it was hard to follow for me. And I won't say it didn't make sense because I could not follow it. There may be something culturally about storytelling styles that I don't understand that would have made it easier to follow for me had I come from a different culture. However, I still gave it a 3-star rating because Quintana's ability to describe visual images was amazing. She would describe things and literally the image would pop to life in my head without even really having to work hard at it. So while I didn't love the story, I would definitely read something by her again, only because her skill with describing visual images in such a way that just brings them to life in vivid color is amazing. So I would definitely give her another shot, and chalk up the experience with this one to being that this is so not my culture that I just didn't understand it. I don't possess the ability to understand it. So I'm willing to own that that may be a reader issue and not an author issue. The other book that I read, and that was my non-Western inspired book. The other book that I read, this one actually covered horror and sci-fi for the in December prompts. Shadow City by Anna Machiket. Phenomenal story. Loved the story. I did only give it 4 stars because as much as I love the story and as much as I can't wait to read the sequel, in chapters like 7 and 8, there are some weird word choices and weird sentence structures that I kind of had to stop and go back and read to get the meaning of the sentence. The author was born in Poland and lived in Germany until 2016, so probably multilingual, I'm going to guess. At least bilingual, I would guess. And so I'm wondering if it's maybe a language translation thing that tripped up, and editors didn't catch. But the story is phenomenal. LA is a post-apocalyptic sort of mess. Something they call the glitch that was nuclear in form happened and took out a large portion of the population. Radiation sickness took out quite a few more. There are still some suffering from radiation sickness and dying slowly. But the other thing that it did is it forced vampires to sort of be honest that, yeah, we really exist and we're not just a book. Um, there's a moment in the book where they talk about Bram Stoker actually being a vampire and writing the book Dracula to make everybody think vampires were a work of fiction. But he did it to protect himself and his kind, and I thought that was kind of brilliant. I love Dracula. I read it this year. I sort of loved that take on that's why Bram Stoker wrote it. I thought that was kind of brilliant. Um, but there is a need now. Vampires had to kind of come clean about the fact that they exist, and what they've done is they've set up this sort of partnership existence with humans where the humans that are healthy, not the ones suffering from radiation sickness, but humans that are healthy enough on a regular basis, when they can do so without risking their own health, they donate blood. The vampires who then need blood go to the blood bank and get their sustenance that way rather than killing. Now, those that go rogue are then dealt with via law enforcement. Because a lot of the what they call the human force, which is their law enforcement, are vampires, and they'll go hunt down rogue members of their group because they don't want the peace that they've established to be messed with. There is a group called the Dark Ones that are dark and mystical, and they live near a portion of the city that nobody else will go anywhere near. They're evil, pure walking evil. No other explanation for them. There are also humans that don't live in the protected zone that are considered raiders. They kind of live a little more feral. There are characters that show up that really. One of the main ones is a guy named Colton who shows up and he comes walking in through the city. Excuse me. Completely naked and clueless as to who he is. Has no idea who he is, where he came from. They give him his name because of the street they find him on. And you really don't know who he is. He's a military machine. Like, he's a sniper. He's like, he can shoot like a sniper. He's amazing in hand-to-hand combat. Like, and he knows that he knows how to do this stuff. Somebody asks him if he can drive a vehicle, and he's like, yep. He doesn't know how he knows that he can, but he knows that he can. He doesn't know how he learned, but he knows he can drive a vehicle, and he really can. So we had no clue about Colton's past, who he is, where he came from. We just know that he sort of becomes this folk hero for the people living in the zone and the person that they all look up to. There are a lot of other characters that we need answers about, where they came from, why they are the way they are, what exactly they are. Lots of mystical, otherworldly beings involved in this, but it's pretty dark. That's the reason I classified it under horror, because it's pretty dark. It's dark. It's really dark. But I loved it. The really big surprise was as I got near the end of the book, I was like, there's not many pages left, and we haven't really defeated the big bad yet. We pushed it back a little bit, but he's not gone. He's going to come back. And there's this person who we haven't solved that problem, or this one, or this one, or this one. And I get to the end of the book, and in the pages after the last page of the novel, we hear, oh, yeah, by the way, book 2 is coming. So it's a part of a series, which nothing on the cover. I mean, it just has Cenotes City, the author's name, and this cute little a place where villains become heroes, and heroes are not what they seem. There is no light, there's no dark, only shadows. That's it. There's no indication that there's more to come. So it was kind of a surprise, a pleasant surprise at the end of the book that there's another book coming. So I am looking forward to reading that. Like I said, a little bit of a language sentence structure issue in the last couple of chapters, but it did not detract from my enjoyment of the story. It was a really well done, really well paced story, very, very engaging. I really, really loved it. So that left me with only one prompt on my in December, which is the book over 500 pages. I am still reading it. However, I've picked up the chance to arc a couple of books that need reviews done before the 31st. So I have 6 days to get 2 books read and reviewed. On top of, I need to help my daughter drop her car off at the shop and make sure there's other things I have to do. Even though I am off school for the week, there are some other things that are going to be taking up my time. It's also a good time for me to get some heavy duty cleaning and organizing done since I'm not working for the next few days. So I don't know that I'll get that 500 page book read plus the 2 that I want to arc. So I am still going to read the 500 page book. I just don't think I'm going to get it done before the end of the month. So I cashed in a wild card. I had a couple of wild cards earned up. The In December challenge allows you to earn wild cards by recording videos about In December, posting things, and hashtagging In December. So I earned a wild card or 2. So I'm cashing one in to finish my In December with a coverall. For January, since I usually talk about what's coming with my readathons, I can't really do a TBR yet because one of the readathons I'm doing is just a page-a-thon. It's just a page count, and there really is no here are your prompts. It's just read stuff. And there are some ways you can earn bonus points, but it's literally just every page is a point, every book is so many points, etc. So it's really just a page count readathon. That's all it is. So I'm not really going to declare a TBR for that. I've got some books I want to read, and I'm probably going to count them. The other thing I decided to do just for kicks, my daughter, I've talked about her before, and I've shared her link to her YouTube channel in comments of other videos. My daughter, Margaret Adele, is a booktuber. Been doing it for a little over a year. And I decided to try something different for January. I have spent some time on the website Bookish First, gotten a few arcs from there, some really good books. Probably my favorite in December read of the month was a Bookish First arc that I got to read. Bookish First is a fun website. You go in, you read a sneak preview of a book, you give them your feedback, your first impression of the book, and then explain why you'd love a hard copy of it or an e-copy of it. You can get an e-version of the book to read an arc. And if you're picked, they'll either send you the ebook or they send you the real thing. And then you read it and you review it by the deadline. I've gotten a few really good books that way. 2 I was supposed to get, and the author never got them to me. The other 2 that I actually got, I loved. The Patron Saints of Nothing came from Bookish First, and Shark's Edge came from Bookish First. I loved them both. So I will continue to use Bookish First because I keep finding new books to fall in love with. But they also have a monthly bingo challenge from time to time. So this is my Bookish First January book bingo card. You can't read it very well on the screen. Things like a book that hooked you with the first line, set a city you wanted to visit, an author's debut book, one that's been featured on Bookish First. So the middle is obviously just a free for a wild card kind of spot. But what I've done is I've sent this to my daughter and told her either one whole line or the whole card. She gets to pick my TBR. Now, if she just wants to pick me one line to do, that's fine. But she can pick the entire card for me if she wants to. So she's going to pick my TBR. We're going to see how well she knows her mom or how far she's trying to stretch her mom. Either way, she cares to go. It's up to her. But I will be doing this as well in January. So we'll see what Margaret picks for me. I don't really get to declare my TBR for the Bookish First bingo because I've left that up to her to declare. The page-a-thon, there are some books that I have to read, some arcs that I need to get done in January and February. So I'll probably be spending some time with those to try to get some of those pages in for page-a-thon. But I can also use these books. So we'll see what she does for me for a TBR. It should be fun. I've never let anybody else have any control over my TBR before, except for like those books somebody else recommends to you. I've literally handed her this whole card and been like, go for it. Do what you want to do. So we'll see what she comes up with. But until then, have a wonderful rest of your holiday season. Have a great New Year's. And if you have any indie authors that you think I absolutely positively should read or my life just won't be fulfilled, leave their names and information in the links in the comments below. Thanks.